intento hermosura sobre la nube más alta.
I've been thinking a lot about identity lately, and I think it's a long time coming. I'm definitely of that generation of people that commodified and commercialized identity in a way, you know? I think that this is particularly true, at least in my community in the US, the Latina community, right? I think that there's a reason that the idea of identity has turned me off for so long, and it's that people have used their identity to get ahead in corporate spaces, to benefit them when it's convenient, like when we're having conversations about race and when we're having conversations about oppression. And so it's been something that's felt a little icky to sort of say things like, well, I'm Latina, or I'm this, or I'm that, or I'm that, or I'm the other. And so the commodification of identity has kind of led me away from asking questions about myself, right? It's kind of been something that I've rejected. And that's put me in an interesting place, right? Because now I'm 31 years old and I feel like it's the first time that I'm really asking questions about myself. I know some things already, right? Of course, there are things that I know about myself. I know what I like and I know what I don't like. And I know what I want to, see in my home and in my closet. And I know what I like to read, and I know what I like to listen to, and I know what I like to write. But I think that what I mean is that I'm exploring things that are a little bit deeper than that. Like, what is my life's purpose, and how do I show up in this world as a result of what I've lived through, what I've seen, what I've experienced. I sometimes also feel like spending too much time thinking about yourself is selfish, right? Like, I felt that in the past. Like, who am I to indulge in this idea of self? But maybe that's an American way of thinking, right? Like, this idea that even though we're an individualist country, to think about the individual is crazy. And yet, I'm starting to realize that truly the only way to get to know other people and to get to know your community and to get to understand and love other people is to know and love yourself, right? Is to know and understand yourself. And that isn't something that I'm like making up, right? That's not my belief system. That's one of the belief systems of the Muisca people, who are the indigenous people of this area, of this region of Colombia, that the self is the first home, and that to know the self is to ground yourself forever, right? Is to not be able to be swayed by others. And it is the way that you will come to love others as well. I felt more of a kinship with that belief system since I've been here. I think that's maybe another reason that I'm thinking so much about my identity. And it's because for once I feel at ease. I feel like a deep relaxation in my body that allows me to ask these questions and to have these ponderings, if you will, have these reflections. And that is so tied to my decision to come back to Colombia to live here, right? To this land where my ancestors are from, where my mom is from. I think the second that I landed here, I felt sort of like a release of this tension that I didn't really understand that I'd been holding around my identity, around home, around where I belong. And I think that there are many of us who are holding that tension, right? And it's only when we feel safe, when we feel like we found a home, that we can start to explore those things. Or at least that's been the reality for me. I think maybe people have their own journeys. But, anyways, thinking a lot about that these days. How to get to know myself better. How to understand myself better. We are in Ráquira, which is about 40 minutes outside of Villa de Leyva, and this is a small town that's known for artesanías, or I don't know what the word is in English, but it's basically like a bunch of artisans live here and they make art and they sell it here. So it's a really beautiful place to check out if you are in search for like home decor, things like that. I'm personally on the lookout for a mirror for my entryway, along with some paintings and maybe some pots for our plants. So I'm going to show you around so you can kind of see all of the beautiful things that they sell here.
These days are running slow. Sunsets and shores far from home. Headlights are shining on the sea. No place on earth I'd rather be. And I could try to just follow the swell, but I'll never find this anywhere else. To all those places on the wall, and none come close to this, I'm sure. You try to say the sunrise the same, but tell me, have you ever danced in the rain? And I could try to just follow the swell, but I'll never find this anywhere else. Try to just follow